about this Skywatcher team with Jacob Barber. That whole Ross Coulthart interview with Barber came out with this egg-shaped alleged UAP. What do you make of all of that?
It's timely. I'll state that. I think it's very timely in the sense of over the last few months, we've been receiving a lot more UFO news and information and hype, which I'm not disappointed about. And then for Jake Barber to come forward and also make some claims, I'm like, whoa. Either either he came from his own accord to give this information or he was nudged to do so. Um, and a good example of this for just to provide something for you is during the 2023 congressional hearing, David Fravor, the guy who saw the Tic Tac in the early 2000s, said in the hearing, I didn't really want to do this. I was nudged. I kept being asked to be here. So that's why I'm here, because I have a story to tell and things like this. We can guess similar stuff have happened to previous people that have spoken out about UFOs, that they were just kind of like nudged, either for all the right reasons or all the wrong reasons. That's for you to make up your own mind. But for someone just to come out from their very comfortable home with their beautiful family and say, you know what? Now it's time to tell the world about what I know and bring on the consequences. It takes a lot, I mean, more than just courage to do that. I mean, Grush, for instance, he had his home broken into. He's had threatening calls, emails, and interactions. He has been ripped apart by the internet. Lou Elizondo as well. These are just a few examples of a few people. The consequences have been very dire for these people. I think it just took a little bit of a nudge for a lot of them to come forward and to share their information or what they can address without infringing on any NDAs. And so then for Jake Barber to do the same, if we just look at David Grush or Lou Elizondo as a foundation, people want to be in the background. They're like, no, I saw how y'all were treated. I don't want to be in that same predicament. But Jake Barber came forward. And I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. And also his statements on X of when Caroline Levitt made the statement of these objects in the sky, these drones are not the enemy. Jake Barber made a comment stating, I've had people on the inside and they have told me otherwise. So it's like, oh, who do you believe? It's if you sit back and you just watch it as a whole, it's like you're watching reality television of like who's really telling the truth here, or is it all just fun drama?
As far as Jake Barber, what do you think of the whole psionics claim and the summoning of UFOs and being able to control UFOs? Do you think we're going to see some proof of this?
My question to you then would be, do you think CE5 would be proof of that, Devin?
I haven't seen enough evidence of CE5 personally to be able to confirm it. I know there's some credible people that have discussed it, but to me, I'm not quite convinced of it yet.
No, I definitely hear what you mean. I have mixed feelings about CE5 as a whole. However, if we look at ancient teachings, if we look at shamans across India, across a Native American tribes in the United States, or even native tribes in South America and other parts of the world, there have been these medicine men, these shamans, these chiefs that are able to go into a meditative state and connect with either their ancestors or beings from the sky, the star people. CE5, I think, has is kind of similar to that. So that lay a foundation for what Jake Barber had mentioned previously? That's also something for people to make up their own mind on. I've never done CE5, so I cannot provide a personal opinion on that. But just merely looking at the legends and the folklore of being able to connect with these beings and even with these craft, and also the tests done by the CIA in the 70s of a Project Stargate, where they were doing remote viewing and other things, it kind of lines up.
And of course, Stephen Greer has popularized CE5. Was Jacob Barber the guy Greer was talking about when in like early January he was saying he was going to have pretty much disclosure in a few weeks, and then it turns out that the only thing that really happened was Coulthard interviewed Jacob Barber, and I guess he's associated with Greer somehow. Is that pretty much what the announcement was from what you gather of it all?
If it was, then it aligned perfectly with what Greer had mentioned. If it didn't, then that's a great grab to say, I did that. Um, Jake Barber has never mentioned Stephen Greer, and Stephen Greer has never publicly mentioned Jake Barber's name. So that's just kind of an assumption of like, did he already see that coming, or did he just grab onto that was his achievement? I don't. I can't tell.